You ever notice how everyone loves the idea of being the chosen one? Special, destined, different from the rest of the crowd. They cling to that fantasy like a lifeline, like a shiny badge pinned to their chest saying, I matter. Oh, it feels good, doesn't it? But what if the joke is that you weren't chosen at all? What if you've been duped, tricked into believing you were handed some sacred mission, some divine spotlight, when really you just bought the story they sold you so you'd behave, obey, and never question the stage you're standing on? Yes, that beautiful little badge people love to wear. Chosen. Such a dazzling word, isn't it? Like a spotlight shining down on you from the heavens, halo and all. Oh, how intoxicating it feels to believe you're plucked out of the crowd, picked by fate, kissed by destiny. Everyone else, just background characters, extras in the movie of your life. It makes your chest puff just a little, makes your steps feel grander, makes your reflection wink back at you like it knows a secret the world hasn't figured out yet. That is the trap, see? The world figured out something centuries ago. Nothing enslaves a person faster than telling them they're special in a way they didn't earn. Give someone the illusion of importance, and you don't need chains, rules, punishment. They'll lock themselves up. They'll stay in line, clutching that shiny identity like a sacred trophy. Because once someone believes they're chosen, they become terrified of losing the title, and fear. Oh, fear is the leash no one sees, because it's wrapped inside pride. Pride masquerading as purpose, purpose disguised as destiny. Destiny sold as truth, by whoever benefits from your belief you think being chosen means you're powerful. Funny thing, most people who believe they're chosen stop questioning everything. The script, the stage, the ones pulling the curtains. Why would they question? They're chosen. They already think the universe picked the right role for them. They become obedient not because someone forced them, but because they don't dare break the illusion that crowns them. They sit quietly, play their part, wait for the grand moment they believe they deserve just for existing. They don't take risks. They don't rebel. They don't explore. They don't confront. Chosen ones don't shake things. They protect the pedestal they worship themselves on. But here's the twisted little truth hidden behind the velvet curtain. If you were truly chosen, you wouldn't need anyone to tell you. You would already be burning through the world with your own force, carving space without permission, without prophecy, without applause. Why would destiny need PR? Why would fate need hype? The very moment someone needs to convince you that you're chosen, they're already nudging your strings, whispering in your ear like a puppeteer who wants you dancing just the way they planned. So they stroke your ego, polish your pride, feed you fairy dust until you choke on it and think it's oxygen. And oh, the tragedy. Once you accept the chosen label, you cling to it tighter than life itself. You start depending on it. Define yourself by it. You can't question who you are anymore, because without that title, you fear you'd crumble. You stop building yourself, because you think the world already built you. You stop striving because you assume destiny will carry you. You stop growing because you think you've already been finalized, stamped, certified special. And nothing is more fragile than a person who believes they're complete before they've even begun being chosen. Feels like a gift. But gifts can be traps wrapped in shiny ribbons. Comfort can be a cage padded with compliments. And the belief that you are divinely singled out, that's the perfect lullaby to rock you into sleep while life marches past you. The world doesn't need to break you if you willingly soften yourself into a dream of importance. You start waiting instead of acting, hoping instead of building, assuming instead of questioning. A puppet whose strings are braided neatly out of praise, prophecy, an eagle look around. How many people walk with that lazy confidence, that smirk that says, "My time will come because I'm meant for greatness"? They don't hustle. They don't dig. They don't sweat. They sit on their throne of imagination, starving while believing a feast is on its way, because surely the universe wouldn't forget someone as special as them. Quiet little tragedy, isn't it? When belief in destiny becomes the excuse that stops you from creating your reality. The chosen label doesn't lift you. It numbs you, paralyzes you, holds your potential hostage, while you stroke the illusion of greatness instead of grinding your way into actual power. Destiny. That neat little word sewn into the minds of dreamers and believers like a comforting lullaby. Isn't it adorable how people cling to it? As if some cosmic hand wrote their life on a sacred scroll, sealed it with stardust, and whispered, "Don't worry, your turn is coming." They look up wide-eyed, trusting that something out there has a plan for them specifically. That's where the fun begins. Because once you accept that story, you're not steering anymore. You're strapped in, hands off the wheel, smiling while someone else drives you exactly where they want you. Destiny doesn't need chains. It whispers sweet promises and watches you hand over your freedom. Like a gift tied with your own ribbon, you think manipulation comes loud and violent. No, no, no. The most delicious control is quiet. It doesn't shout orders, it feeds beliefs. Tell someone they have a destined path, and they will follow it like a happy puppet, never realizing the strings came attached to the prophecy they adored. They think they're chosen, guided, blessed. But really, they're compliant, willingly, joyfully. Because the moment you think life has already chosen a direction for you, you stop questioning who drew the map. And every good trickster knows, if you want to tame a person, don't shove them. Convince them the cage is a throne. People love destiny because responsibility scares them. To believe life is pre-written is such a cozy escape from the terrifying truth that you must build yourself. If things go wrong, destiny did it. If life stalls, destiny is taking time. If they fail, it's not meant for them. How convenient. Destiny becomes the babysitter for the mind, rocking it gently to sleep, while ambition slips quietly out the back door. And oh, how wonderfully tragic it is to watch someone sit, wait, smile at the sky, convinced the universe owes them a delivery of greatness, like a misplaced package that's running late ever notice how destiny never shows up when people sit expecting it? But it always seems to find those who tear the script apart, who don't wait for signs or blessings or cosmic approval. Funny, isn't it? Almost as if destiny rewards rebellion, not obedience. But they don't teach that in the spiritual pamphlets, do they? They teach surrender disguised as faith, patience disguised as passivity, hope disguised as helplessness. They tell you the universe chose you, then watch you sit still like a well-trained pet waiting for a treat that never drops. Quite the performance, and you're the star without even realizing you didn't write the role. And oh, the poetry when someone whispers, it's fate. Fate becomes the perfect excuse to stop thinking, stop questioning, stop doubting the systems built to keep you small. Why rebel when destiny will do the pushing for you? Why break structures when divine timing will whisk you away? Manipulation wrapped in mysticism. What a beautiful trick. Once you believe the universe is doing the work, you never fight the hands really shaping your life. You accept, you comply, you trust, and trust makes you soft. Soft minds are easy to guide. Soft wills are easy to bend. Soft hearts are easy to shepherd into the vision that benefits someone else entirely, you see. Destiny is just the leash disguised as a halo. A velvet rope around your neck that feels like comfort until you try to move in a direction not already approved for you. That's when the tension shows, the pull tightens, and you realize, far too late, that the soft voice promising meaning was actually fastening your restraint. People call it divine alignment. I call it elegant obedience. But humans adore a lovely lie more than a sharp truth. So they bow to destiny and call it wisdom, while their potential rots behind the locked door of someday. Meanwhile, opportunity walks right past them, greeting only those bold enough to grab life by the throat, instead of waiting for cosmic permission. The moment you rely on destiny to save you, you surrender the right to save yourself. And once someone convinces you that fate is guiding you where you need to go, they don't have to force you anymore. You will march with a smile, cling to the illusion that you're not being controlled, you're being guided. But guidance without question is not divine. It's manipulation that smells like hope, dressed in prophecy, sweet enough to swallow without ever noticing the poison tucked underneath the sugar. Choosing yourself. Now there's a concept that terrifies people more than any villain ever could. Because when you choose yourself, you can't hide behind fate or destiny or some invisible celestial chorus cheering your name. No divine fingerprints to point at, no prophecy to lean on. Just you, raw and alone, responsible for every brick you lay and every bruise you earn. And humans, they tremble at that level of accountability. They'd rather tell themselves the heavens tapped them on the shoulder than admit they have to tap themselves awake. It's easier to believe you're selected than to stand up and do the selecting. See, most people don't want independence. They want approval. They don't want to choose. They want to be chosen. Because being chosen feels safe, glamorous, validated. It means you don't have to justify your existence. Some cosmic force already did that for you. So they float through life waiting for a sign, a calling, a voice, a moment when the sky cracks open and confetti falls, and suddenly they know, yes, I am special, and now I may act. They want permission dressed up as purpose. They want confidence without the discomfort of earning it. They want the crown without the battle scars. Cute, isn't it? But the world doesn't bend for the ones waiting to be anointed. It bends for the ones who spit on the idea that someone else gets to define their worth. The ones who don't wait to be knighted by fate. The ones who sharpen their own sword, cut their own path, and if a throne doesn't exist for them, well, they build one out of the rubble they created along the way. Choosing yourself is chaos to the obedient. It's rebellion disguised as self-respect. It's declaring you don't need a prophecy to be powerful. And that makes the universe nervous. Systems crumble when people stop waiting for permission. People fear choosing themselves because once you do, there's no safety net left. If you fail, it's on you. If you fall, no divine script is cushioning your landing. There's no wasn't meant to be to soothe your ego, and ego hates being naked. It cries, it claws, it begs for something, anything, to blame. That's why the chosen fantasy is so addictive. It hugs the ego tight and whispers, you're special, but it's not your fault you're stuck. Just wait. It's coming. Waiting is easier than building. Hoping is easier than risking. Dreaming is easier than choosing. The fantasy feels warm, but warmth can burn when it's just fire disguised as comfort. When you choose yourself, though, you crack that illusion open like glass under a boot. Suddenly the world doesn't feel mystical, it feels breakable, mutable, yours to play with. You start seeing cages where others see comfort. You stop worshiping destiny and start sculpting life with your own hands, messy and beautiful and terrifying. And the moment you do that, you become dangerous. Not because you're violent or chaotic. No, because you are unpredictable. Systems don't know what to do with someone who doesn't need validation to move. They don't know how to leash a person whose sense of purpose comes from within. You become a problem, a glitch in a world that feeds on compliant dreamers waiting for someone to crown them. Choosing yourself means embracing the ugly parts, the doubt, the insecurity, the nights where you wonder if you're delusional or brilliant or both. It means breaking the mirror of what society told you success looks like and building a new one from shards sharp enough to cut anyone who tries to put you back in your place. It means you don't sit at the door hoping opportunity knocks. You kick the door off its hinges and walk in like it was always yours, even if no one claps, especially if no one claps. Because applause is just another leash if you need it to move. And here's the delicious truth. The moment you choose yourself, the world eventually starts choosing you too. Not because you were destined, not because you were marked by the universe, but because confidence backed by action is louder than prophecy ever will be. People love a chosen one story because it removes the burden of choosing. But real power never comes from someone pointing at you. It comes from you pointing at the world and saying, "I'm here because I decided to be." The universe doesn't hand the throne to the chosen. It bows to the ones bold enough to sit before anyone announces their name. Obedience. Such a polite little poison, isn't it? Most people swallow it without even tasting. They call it discipline, patience, faith, humility. Dress it up in noble words so they never have to face the truth. They're scared to move without permission. They wait for signs like beggars waiting for scraps. They nod, smile, and follow rules written by ghosts they've never seen. And all the while, they pretend they're on a sacred path, when really, they're just well-behaved dreamers marching neatly in line, thinking the universe owes them a parade for being quiet and good. Oh, how society loves the obedient, the ones who never question why the chains feel so warm. Belief in fate, destiny, divine timing. It's not always faith. Sometimes it's fear in disguise. Fear of choosing wrong. Fear of messing up. Fear of taking responsibility for your own direction. So what do people do? They hide behind meant to be. They say, "Well, everything will happen when it's time." How convenient. How comfortable. How perfect a slogan for staying still. Because if the universe is handling everything, why take risks, right? Why challenge anything? Why sharpen your claws when fate is supposedly sharpening them for you? But here's the sick twist. When you avoid choosing, you are letting someone else choose for you. And the world is full of people eager to make decisions for those who hesitate. Obedience is the invisible prison. There are no metal bars, just ideas. Ideas that tell you good things come to those who wait. That patience is purity. That questioning is rebellion. That you must earn your right to act from forces unseen. And people nod along like polite little dolls, thinking they're wise for surrendering. They don't realize they traded their teeth for a prayer, their fire for comfort, their roar for approval. The moment you wait for fate to declare you ready, you have already lost your freedom, because readiness comes from action, not permission. But go ahead, keep waiting, keep hoping, keep worshiping destiny. The rulers of the world adore obedient believers. They sleep well knowing you won't challenge them. See, obedience isn't always chains and orders. Sometimes it's a whisper that says, "Trust the process." Sometimes it's a motivational quote that actually sedates your ambition. Sometimes it's parents, teachers, spiritual leaders smiling sweetly as they feed you gentle lies. Patience is power. Good things take time. Don't rush. Also, you never notice the real game. The ones who rise are not the obedient ones. They're the ones who move before they're ready, who act without instructions, who break the pattern the moment they feel it tightening around their neck. They don't wait for destiny to approve. They don't ask life for permission to matter. They don't kneel to timing or fate. They decide. And that is why they terrify the system. Believing you're chosen by fate makes you harmless. Believing you must earn destiny's blessing makes you predictable. But believing you have to prove yourself to a future that may never come, that's how control thrives. You wait, life moves. You pray, time eats you. You hold still while others steal the opportunities you thought your name was written on. And when nothing happens, you whisper, "It wasn't meant for me." How poetic, how tragic, how perfectly obedient. You protect the very illusion that trapped you, because to admit you froze would shatter your pride. So you protect fate like it's a shield, when it's always been a leash disguised as philosophy. Ever seen a lion raised in a cage? It stops roaring not because it can't, but because it forgets why roaring matters. That's obedience. A quiet killer, a spiritual sedative, a lullaby for the ambitious soul. And the world is full of sleeping lions pretending they're spiritual saints. They believe surrender is holiness, when sometimes surrender is simply fear wearing righteous robes. They talk about divine timing, but divine timing never comes for those who sit still. It comes for those who move so hard the universe has no choice but to respond. The obedient hope, the self-directed disturb. Fate loves the bold because the bold don't worship fate. They challenge it, provoke it, force it to show up. Obedience feels safe until you realize safety is a coffin padded with good intentions. People aren't destroyed by failure. They're destroyed by waiting. Waiting for a sign. Waiting for alignment. Waiting for fate's approval, like timid children asking if it's okay to breathe. But life doesn't bow to the obedient. It devours them gently, silently, while they smile and say, "It's all part of the plan." A tragic little mantra to mask the truth. They were never chosen. They simply never chose themselves. Funny thing about illusions. They don't always come with smoke and mirrors. Sometimes they come with soft voices and hopeful smiles. Sometimes they dress themselves in spirituality, philosophy, positivity. Hope, the sweetest drug ever invented. People sip it like warm tea, thinking it comforts them, not realizing it sedates them. And illusions. Oh, they're the finest craft the world ever produced. Not built to deceive cruelly, no, built to soothe. Built to rock you gently into a belief you never think to question. A belief that life is unfolding perfectly, that everything has meaning, that every delay is divine. And while you bask in that lovely glow of purpose, your time slips quietly through your fingers, like sand you convinced yourself was gold. See, illusions don't imprison you with fear. They cradle you with comfort. That's the trick. A cage with spikes makes you run. A cage padded with velvet. You curl up inside and call it destiny. You call it peace. You call it faith. Humans don't like ugly truths. They prefer beautiful lies. Lies that pat their heads, whisper, "You're special, you're chosen, your time is coming." The kind of syrupy reassurance that tastes so good you never notice it rotting your hunger to act. Illusions don't steal dreams. They slowly drain the urgency from them. Like a needle drawing blood with a lullaby playing in the background. And people love illusions because reality is messy. Reality demands sweat, effort, embarrassment, risk. Illusion just asks you to believe, to wait, to trust, to feel chosen without lifting a finger. It's tempting, isn't it? To think everything is aligned for you, that the universe has you on a golden track, that every setback is secretly a setup for something grand. What a cozy little blanket. Meanwhile, the world moves. Others act. Others build. Others fail and get up again. But you cling to the soft illusion that life owes you brilliance simply because you believe you deserve it. Illusion is the lullaby for the passive soul, and life loves nothing more than a passive dreamer. They're easy to ignore, easy to shape, and the best part, they think their awake comfort convinces you there's no rush. That timing is magical, not logical. That alignment is cosmic, not created. But time doesn't bow to your illusions. It eats them. The clock isn't waiting for your destiny to catch up. It's tearing pages away while you sit on your imaginary throne. People mistake feeling destined for being destined. They mistake comfort for clarity. They mistake stillness for depth. When really, stillness without purpose is just stagnation with a pretty filter on it. They whisper, "I'm preparing." Preparing for what? A life that never begins, because the illusion of who you could be feels safer than risking who you might actually become. Illusions protect pride. After all, it's easier to say you're chosen than to admit you're scared. Easier to claim destiny is slow than to admit you're not moving. Easier to call yourself patient than powerless. Illusions turn fear into philosophy, laziness into spirituality, stagnancy into alignment. It's elegant self-deception, a masterpiece of ego preservation. An ego loves being stroked by illusion. It purrs when you say, "I'm meant for greatness." But greatness doesn't visit those who wait like royalty. It visits those who behave like thieves. Snatching it in the night, uninvited, unapologetic, real power begins where illusion dies. But killing illusion is messy, like tearing off your own mask, and masks are comfortable, aren't they? People don't fear failure. They fear seeing themselves without the illusion that they're destined for success. They fear realizing no divine hand is guiding them, that the universe isn't picking favorites, that no prophecy is written. It's terrifying because then you must face the truth. The world isn't waiting for you. You have to carve your place in it. And most people would rather cling to the illusion that they're special than face the work required to actually become special. The illusion feels safe until life exposes it. Until one day you wake up and realize hope without action is just a dream with chains on it. Belief without motion is a lullaby that puts your ambition to sleep. And nothing is more dangerous than a person who thinks they're chosen while doing absolutely nothing to prove it. The illusion doesn't break you. It just politely waits for you to break yourself. Because illusions don't kill dreams loudly. They smother them quietly while you smile, thinking you're ascending when really you're sinking in silk. Power. Real power. Not the kind stamped on a certificate or handed out by some cosmic committee in the clouds. No, I'm talking about the kind that crawls out from inside you when you finally stop waiting to be crowned. The kind that hums in your bones when you look around, laugh at the stage they built for you, and say, "I think I'll build my own." That moment, When you choose yourself, that's when you stop being a spectator in your own life and become a force that bends the room without asking permission. That's when you stop being a believer and start being a creator. And creators, they don't ask to be chosen. They decide they matter. See, power doesn't come from being selected. That's a fairy tale for children who want to feel important without lifting the weight that importance demands. The chosen ones sit there, polishing their imaginary crowns, rehearsing their victory speeches in the mirror, while life devours their opportunities like candy wrappers tossed in the wind. Meanwhile, the ones who choose themselves are out there, chiseling their identity from nothing but grit, nerve, and a refusal to be ignored. They take hits, they bleed, they look ridiculous sometimes. But every bruise they earn is proof that their power is real, not granted. And oh, how the world loves to watch someone who chooses themselves. At first they laugh, point fingers, whisper behind hands, who does he think he is? Who told her she could do that? The answer, of course, is deliciously simple. No one told them they could. They told themselves. And that is what terrifies everyone else, because deep down, they know they could do the same. If they had the courage to break their precious illusion of needing to be chosen. But they don't. So they cling to their soft little fantasies and resent the ones bold enough to break theirs. Power is not some mystical wand given to the worthy. Power is momentum. Power is defiance disguised as self-belief. Power is stubborn, will stretched so tight it could snap, yet somehow it doesn't. It sharpens. It refines you. And while everyone else waits for